What is up, everyone? This is the Osmo.com NHL Hit the Ice show. We have an 11-game slate to talk about tonight. Joined again, as usual, by Nolan Kelly. Nolan, how you doing? How are the line changes this afternoon?
It's happening. Lots of stuff going on today.
Yeah.
Interesting slate.
A lot of new toys people are going to want to use with
Think
guys trading teams. Yeah. So we should be in for a pretty good slate. I think I don't actually love the games. There's like 3 or 4 games that I think are pretty obvious that everyone's going to be on that I'm kind of on. I don't see any like huge stance I'm taking. Maybe one line that I'm getting pretty heavy on, but we'll talk about that kind of later. Do you see anything outside of the Washington chalk that we should kind of mention off the top?
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one to deal with here because, I don't know. What do you think that ownership's going to come in at, 35% or something?
No.
It's going to be insane.
No, not 35.
28?
They're going to be under 30. The Caps top line. Yeah, they're expensive. So if you like them, just play a bunch of them. And, there will be people that leave off Wilson or whatever. So I wouldn't worry about them being all that chalky. I mean, huge total and stuff. It's obviously a very good spot. They're going to be probably the most popular line. But 11 games, and we've got some other top lines that aren't expensive around them. You've got the top line in Columbus, Pittsburgh. People love playing Pittsburgh. There are other ways to differentiate if you just want to take a stand because of ownership. But I don't really think you even have to. I'm not taking a huge stand on them specifically. I mean, I don't know. I don't see any.
Go at weight.
Yeah, pretty much, and just play the full stack and hope that people get punished if they do go off by not playing the whole stack. So that's what I'll be doing on them. Outside of that, we've got Winnipeg 1, like I mentioned, St. Louis 1. There's a bunch of lines that are expensive and in pretty good spots, I think. Carolina, even though they're not super expensive. Boston, I think they're going to go pretty overlooked for the most part as well.
Boston 1?
Yeah. And then I'm not really on San Jose, but we'll get to that game first. Of course, we do have the giveaway going on. We're giving away a $200 gift card to the NHL shop. I was on there today looking, just kind of seeing. I haven't gone on NHLshop.com for a while, but there's a lot of good stuff. Of course, if you're into hockey, you probably are if you're watching this. Get some jerseys of your favorite players, whatever. But we're giving away a $200 gift card as sort of a thank you to the people that have been loyal and watched us all season, watched the NHL Hit the Ice show. So this is going on. We started yesterday. It's going up until March 4th. And the way you get entered into it and gain additional entries into it is you first like this video. A lot of you do that regardless, so we thank you for that. But you gotta like this video, and then for today, the prompt is going to be which player or team can you never get right in NHL DFS? So kind of an interesting one. Do you have one, Nolan?
Well, I mean, recently Chicago. No, I don't know. I always pick I feel like I have trouble with lines with 2 teams. I feel like teams with 2 lines. I always pick the wrong line.
Yeah. So you got Vegas,
Pittsburgh,
San Jose. Yeah. For me, I think it would probably be Tampa, as you guys know,
Tampa?
or maybe Dallas.
Oh, that's a rough one.
Yeah, they've cost me, both those teams have cost me quite a bit of numbers,
Dallas,
quite a bit of money.
For sure.
If I say the Oilers, do I get bonus points? You do not get bonus points, but you do get an additional entry. So this is just strictly for NHL. I don't know if we have other giveaways going on in NBA and PGA, but this is just for you guys, just the people that watch NHL Hit the Ice. We've obviously got a smaller crowd than some other people, so you've got a better chance at winning. And it only takes a few seconds of your time each show, and you can gain additional entries. And then we will do the giveaway, I believe, on March 4th on this show.
Nice. It's coming up.
Yeah. So like and comment. Don't comment in the box right now in the live chat, of course. Do it in the public comment box once the video has gone final. And we would really appreciate it. And hopefully you can get that $200 NHL shop gift card that we're giving away. All right. You want to get into this 11 gamer?
Let's do it.
Yeah, as always on these big slates, we're going to try to go pretty quick through some games that are less interesting and spend some more time on the ones that we should talk about ownership, and there's a lot more to talk about.
Yeah.
2.9 implied total for the Sharks, 3.2 for the Bruins. Martin Jones and Yaroslav Halak in net here. Do we have any changes outside of Johansson?
Yeah, so Gustav Nyquist that's his debut, isn't it? Did he play last game?
He got traded yesterday, right, or 2 days ago. So I don't think he's played.
Sunday night. Yeah. So yeah, his debut. Yes, his debut. So he's alongside Thornton and LeBanc on the third line.
Mm-hmm.
Erik Karlsson returns for the Sharks. Kevin Miller is out for the Bruins, and Charlie Coyle is on the third line for the Bruins as well with Backus and Nordstrom, I think.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Yeah. So I guess Burns maybe downgrades a little bit with Karlsson out, and you're liking Boston 1. Is that right?
I don't know. I mean, I just think they're a good pivot. So I think there's enough decent pivots that we won't have to worry about like crazy chalk on an 11-game slate. Like Ovechkin himself might be over 30% and maybe over 40 and 50 in some of the higher stakes tournaments because he is like the best play tonight. But there are other lines that you can pivot to if you kind of want to get away from the chalk. And Boston 1's certainly one of them. Haven't been quite the same without Pasternak, but Heinen only 5,100 and does play on the second unit. And then they're probably going to go up against Couture and Meyer and Pavelski, which hasn't been a great defensive line. They've been better as of late. But Bergeron and Marchand together, no issue going to them as one of the pivots from Washington 1 tonight. Got anything in this game that you really love?
Yeah, not really love, but like Boston 2 getting the upgrade with Johansson, I think is interesting. They've been getting a lot of ice time lately. They're all, Krejci and DeBrusk are still on the power play 1. So I've been using them a little bit lately to some success. Like they've had a pretty good run of things. I think they had like 5 straight games in a row where they hit the score sheet. So I don't mind them. They're a little bit pricey, but I don't mind them as kind of like a medium price filler stack.
Yeah.
You getting any Boston 2?
I'm not really getting to Boston 2. So
is that because their matchup with San Jose 2 or?
No, it's not. So I'm playing 20 lineups tonight on DK, and I'm maxing on FanDuel. And we usually talk about DK, so I'm talking about my DK lineups. Like I'm just not getting to them. I like some other lines in their price range and even below them. So it's just a matter of me liking other lines. If I had 150 tonight on DK, I would probably get some shares of them. But I think I agree with you. I don't really love the Hurdle Kane Donskoy matchup. That line's been so good at even strength. And then you only get DeBrusk on the top power play here for the Boston 2.
It's going to be interesting because both Boston 1 and Boston 2 are pretty strong defensive lines, and both San Jose 1 and 2 are strong offensive lines that aren't great defensively, right? So it's kind of like a something's got to give scenario.
Yeah. And I mean, Karlsson back, only missing 1 game, kind of a surprise. I was surprised. Kind of sounded like he re-aggravated the groin, and I figured he'd be out a couple more weeks, but must be fine because the Sharks aren't going to mess around with him, right? So close to playoffs, like they're contending for a cup this year. They have no reason to push him, but he must be 100%, and he's obviously one of their better defenders, one of the better defenders in all of the NHL. So kind of a little bit of a downgrade to what I thought Boston was going to be this morning, but I'm not really crazy about any of the Sharks lines either, so not getting anything on DK here, really.
How's your Burns ownership?
I am getting to Burns. Yeah, so I said not really getting to anything in this game, but Burns is kind of the exception. I'm almost always playing Burns. Under 7K, like he's just always going to pop up for me just because the amount of shots he attempts. And it hasn't been much different without Karlsson, so if people are going to get off of him because Karlsson's back, like I'll gladly be overweight on Burns, and I'm going to on both sides tonight. Anything else here?
Nothing.
All right. Martin Jones is a $7,300 favorite. Ooh. Yeah, I'm surprised the Sharks are a favorite. Saw some pretty sharp people talking about how the Bruins should be favored here. And we're actually seeing the Bruins favored on our line, or our Vegas lines. So I'm not sure where exactly we get those, but it could be updated. I see the Sharks are favored elsewhere. So
slight favorite, but kind of 50-50.
Yeah, never Jones. Yeah, I wouldn't fall for Martin Jones, unless you are correlating in like one of these San Jose lines, then maybe that's probably okay. But as a one-off, no thanks on Martin Jones here.
Just lock in 100% Holtby and call it a night.
Oh God, that so all right. We'll get to Holtby in a little bit, but I am the Holtby hater, and I'm playing Holtby tonight.
Yeah.
So
you're playing him? All right.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Flames and Islanders. We got a 2.9 implied total for the Flames, 3.1 for the Islanders. Mike Smith going up against Robin Lehner. Anything new here, Nolan?
Yeah, so Andrew Ladd returns for the Islanders. He's playing on the second line with Barzal and Komarov, I think. Yeah, and then Filppula is on the third line with Beauvillier and... Sorry, I got to pull up my sheet here. Who is it? Beauvillier and... Bailey as well. Yeah, so some new lines there for the Islanders. Everything the same for the Flames except for Rasmus Andersson is up in the top pairing with Giordano, and Brody's down on the third pairing. So slight upgrade for Rasmus Andersson. Mm-hmm. He's not a bad punt play if you're looking for a cheap defenseman.
Yeah, so this one, another one I kind of don't really love, especially with limited lineups. I try to take a few bigger stands on a couple lines because I only have 20, and I'm trying to take down guys that like Osmo and Tom, who will probably have 141 or whatever it is in the $20. Mm-hmm. So I'm just Xing out some teams. I don't think I'm getting to either of these teams on really either site. The Islanders haven't been a team I've been attacking lately, and when I have, I've gotten burned a couple times. They're really, really frustrating to watch too. So like you've got Calgary 1 here. They're super expensive. They're going to be completely unowned. So if you want to do that just because of ownership, that's fine. They're probably going to come in under-owned. I just don't know how any line really has any line had success like at a huge game against the Islanders this year. I can't remember if it's happened once.
It's a good question. I don't like nothing comes to mind, but yeah, it's pretty rare. And like Calgary just hasn't been playing very Calgary 1 hasn't been great lately, so just sort of avoiding them until they start to get their mojo back, I think, a little bit, or get a nice matchup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you like Calgary 1, they're going to be completely unowned tonight, but I won't be on the 1% or 2% Calgary 1 tonight, I don't think. Even on FanDuel, I don't even know if I'm getting to any shares of them with 150. I am getting to Mark Giordano, though, 6,200. He's kind of my next guy if you can't get up to Burns and Carlson. So he's my third guy, so I'm getting a little bit of exposure to him on both sites. So that's really my only play here, similar to Burns in the last game. What about you?
Islanders just DFS death for defensemen. That doesn't bother you at all? Not worried?
Do they have a good ranking on...
number 1 in points allowed to defensemen this year.
I mean... It doesn't worry me that much. Like, I'll still play Burns and Giordano in quote-unquote bad matchups. Like, you see, like, low goal total and stuff. But these guys are going to get their shot attempts, I think, for the most part. So I'm
guessing you'll get Giordano at, like, 5% ownership or something ridiculous tonight, too.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and he's just a guy that's got so much upside on his own. So
yeah,
doesn't need the Flames score 4 goals for him to score 6 or 7 DK points.
That's true.
Anything else here? Polak?
No, I'm with you. I think this is an obvious fade game. Like the odds of one of these lines busting, like New York Islanders 1 is pretty cheap, so I can see getting to it. But not gonna have a lot, if any. Yeah,
I don't have any, like I mentioned, any stacks of either team on DK here. And then I actually did get one Nick Leddy lineup on DK, but I realized I made a mistake.
Fire it up. Let's go.
No. So I won't have Nick Leddy. So I was like, what is going on?
He's 3,200.
Broken. He's also not good for DFS. So no thanks on Nick Leddy. There are actually guys at min salary that I have projected way higher than him. So we will see.
It's like a young Troy Stetcher.
Stetcher's way better than Leddy. And he plays more.
I was actually at that Canucks game last night, and like, I kind of see your points about like low event defensemen. I was sitting up high and just watching these guys, and like, they just don't do anything. Like they skate around a lot, they got the puck a lot, but they just kind of like continually pass it off and like just don't sort of generate
dump
like
it. Yeah, him and Stetcher. I've watched way too much Canucks hockey as of late, so No thanks. Yeah, Biega, like that would be a guy I'd play if he was Biega. If like that guy will just let it
Biega was
fly.
awesome last night. Like I was like pissed at myself for Xing him out of my player pool because
So
I figured he was just so low upside. But
if he's getting power play time somehow at some point this year with Besser and Pedersen, which they probably won't do, but if for some reason he is, like that would be a guy I'd plug in for 3,500. That won't really be on.
Yeah, exactly. His price is a little too pricey for people to pay up for a cheap defenseman. So
yeah, and they just traded Gudbranson, so there you go. A couple more minutes. Gudbranson, I always say his name wrong. A couple more minutes there for Biega.
Terrible.
Yeah,
I'm so glad he's gone.
He's very bad.
Yeah.
Buffalo and Philadelphia, we've got a 2.9 implied total for the Sabres, 3.5 for the Flyers. Buffalo played last night against Toronto, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Allmark expected to go because Hutton went last night, and then Elliott for the Flyers here.
Yeah. News and notes. Middlestats probably going to be out again, but maybe a game time decision. We don't know yet for sure. So there's a leverage point if you're looking at Buffalo 2 at all. I don't know. Buffalo 1 power play was the nuts line or nuts combo last night, wasn't it? It was pretty good. And then on the Flyer side, so James Van Riemsdyk is down on the third line. Lawton centering the third line as well as newly acquired Ryan Hartman is on that line. And then Nolan Patrick has moved up to the top line to center Giroux and Konechny. So new combos for the Flyers. I'm assuming someone's making fun of me in chat here.
No one's making fun of you. Seth hasn't chimed in yet. I think Seth's on Buffalo too now. I think you might have swayed him.
Well, I had a lot of your projections were loving Buffalo 2 last night, right?
Yeah, it's Reinhart. This guy's just been on a tear shooting. So
yeah.
And he scored a couple times last night as well. So yeah.
Yeah. So like if you're gonna because Reinhart scored last night and because like they're people kind of think of Buffalo 1, like if you're gonna roster this, I think adding Pominville to any kind of Buffalo 1 stack is probably must because you're gonna get so much ownership leverage. He's gonna be like 1/3 of the ownership.
Buffalo 2 lock it in, outscore Washington 1 easy. There's Seth.
You don't have to choose. You can have both.
Yeah, that's true. You could probably have both and then like Carlson too. You could probably make that work pretty easy.
Yeah, sign me up.
Just all the nuts right there. Yeah, the Pominville thing. So just another reason why we've been full stacking more lately. Well, first of all, it's what pros do. It's what guys like Osmo and Tom do. Even though Osmo had that couple week stretch where he was doing like 3-2-1s with his forwards. For the most part, they full stack at even strength because we saw it pay off right away in the early slate, I think on Saturday, when Pominville was like a quarter of the ownership.
Two of them
right away.
The late ones.
Yeah.
So it was Pominville and Hayes, both like 5. Was it Hayes? No. Pominville and VC. Both under 5% owned. Didn't work out, but we were close.
No, yeah, and if those guys score the goals, like you're just crushing everyone, including the people with just Eichel and Skinner, if there's a full line goal. So react to late news, full line stack, when in doubt, I think. There's always situations where you don't have to do that or, that doesn't make sense, but I think in general that's a good strategy to deploy. So yeah, Flyers are going 11-7 here. So maybe a little bit of an increase in minutes for a guy like Voracek or Giroux, especially because Giroux double shifts in close games with Couturier and Voracek. By the way, the end of that outdoor classic game was pretty cool. Did you get to watch that?
No, I missed it. Was it good?
The Stadium Series? Yeah, the Stadium Series. Yeah, it was cool.
This is the Philly one?
Yeah. The one with all the rain. So someone asked if there was a forecast of rain or something in chat. So that's what made me think of it. But yeah, Giroux was actually double shifting with Couturier and Voracek. So maybe the lines, if you look back on shift chart or natural stat trick, you'll see the lines being all funky. But that was just a product of Giroux playing extended minutes. They just loaded up that top line and it worked for them. So maybe Giroux gets a few extra shifts with Couturier and Voracek. Maybe a bit of a downgrade for a guy like Lindblom. I'm not super heavy on either of these Flyers lines, but I mean they're kind of grading out as okay values for me. I just have other lines that I think are a little bit better than them. So are you heavy on any Flyers here?
I haven't built yet, but I'm guessing I'm not going to get to a lot of them. Lindblom's shooting a lot lately, which kind of surprised me. And then like I would upgrade Philly too a little bit just because I guess Couturier is now on the power play one as well
Mm-hmm.
instead of Simmons, so there's a little bit more correlation there. I don't know what the matchup will be like. They'll probably put Couturier out against Buffalo one, right?
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, probably like a decent play. Not going to get much ownership. I don't know what's Buffalo one like defensively.
They're actually okay with Pominville, Eichel, Skinner, and Pominville. I
Yeah.
haven't looked at them the last couple games, but I know they've been like they were around 10 high danger chances against per 60 in a pretty big sample when I looked early last week, or maybe at the end of last week. So it's not like a crazy good matchup despite the decent total here for the Flyers. Like I don't see any just nut matchups like we've like very obvious stuff like we've got in Washington and Ottawa.
Mhm.
So I don't think we're going to see a ton of ownership on really either Flyers line. And I'm really not getting to a ton. So
Yeah.
outside of filler stacks, especially on FanDuel. So I don't really have a crazy take here. And I think both of the top two lines for the Sabres are actually okay defensively. Like you're going to get lit up against Toronto every once in a while for 4 or 5 goals, but that's understandable. I don't know if the Flyers have that kind of firepower even on the back-to-back here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. What do you like? I guess Nolan Patrick on that top line makes it a little bit cheaper, a little bit more affordable. I kind of like he's been playing a lot better lately, but and then like Buffalo, what do you think Buffalo's ownership is going to be here? Like Buffalo one,
They're going to be unowned.
7, 5, 7.
I would say, I'd pretty much cross off Buffalo one if it were
Really?
me.
Even with like Brian Elliott in goal and
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, so goalies can stand on the head. Goalies are just weird. I try to take them out of the equation. I try to just figure out, all right, who's going to have the most chances and who's going to be under owned type of thing, and just hope the variance works out enough times for me to be a profitable player every month or every year or however long you mention it. So
yeah,
I try to take goalies out of the equation for the most part, unless there's an AHL guy coming up and he just played last night type of thing, and there's a 5-goal total against him or something.
I think
crazy.
I agree with you for the most part, but I think there are spots there where there are like goalies that are either like prone to like giving up,
Sure.
having big games, or like this is a spot where like Elliott hasn't played in 2 months, so and the Flyers have been trending down, so this is kind of a spot where you're like, well, there may be like a range of outcomes that is more extreme, and there's a chance that Buffalo could go off, right?
So Elliott played in the Stadium Series, I believe.
Did he?
Yeah, because I had him actually. I was trying to think if it was Elliott or who it was.
Oh.
But the Flyers have played 1 million goalies this year.
Sorry,
So
for
he
some reason
played.
I thought it was he hadn't played since December 23rd, but he was out for a while and he's been back for 3 games now.
Right.
So my
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. Yeah, so he
yeah,
just
good
returned
thinking.
recently. But
Yep.
um,
No, you're right. I take back everything I said there. Sorry.
no, I mean, it's fine. Like, some goalies are obviously worse than others. I just try not to rely too much on goalie skill. Like, I think it's a popular thing to, like, attack Niemi or whatever. And I am tonight, but it's not because of Niemi. It's because of the underlying defensive numbers. I just want as many chances as I can generate for, the lowest price possible or, get the most value, which is exactly what an optimizer like Fantasy Cruncher does. So that's what my projections are built around. And for a line like Eichel and Skinner and Palmville, like they've been really good. Josh in chat writes 16 high danger chances 4 per 60, but the Couturier line is just so good defensively that on a big slate like tonight, and you're not getting a discount on Eichel and Skinner either, I'd probably just cross them off because they're going to be stuck on them the whole game. If they burn me, they burn me, but I'll take my chances elsewhere.
Buff 2?
When it goes, Buffalo 2 is fine because they're also going to get the better matchup against Giroux, Patrick, and Konechny. That line, Giroux and Konechny, I know have pretty poor defensive numbers together. I'm not sure with Patrick just yet if we've got a big sample, but yeah, give me some Buffalo 2 for cheap here.
Some good analysis.
Anything else in this game? Got any defenseman you want to talk about or goalie?
No, I think like Rasmus Dahlin is kind of a little bit in play these days. Just he's getting more ice time, more power play ice time, but not really. I wouldn't use him outside of like a power play stack or something, but not getting to much.
Sounds good. Yeah, I don't have much defenseman exposure here. Let's move it on to maybe the marquee game of the night. We've got the Ottawa Senators going up against the Washington Capitals. 2.5 implied total for the Sens, 3.9 for the Caps. Anders Nilsson going up against Braden Holtby. what do we have for news and notes here? Probably gonna be the Ottawa side, right?
Yeah, nothing. I think nothing from the Washington side at all, as per usual. Let me just pull up the thing. I can't remember all these Senators lines.
So
but
here,
yeah,
let me help you. We've got White with Kachuk and Duclair. The audience can see this. That's why I'll go.
Nice.
Pajot with Smith and Ryan. Balsers with Tierney and Bodker, it looks like.
Yeah, and then some new power plays as well, I think. But generally speaking, like it looks as though, especially on the road, Ottawa just mixes and matches so much. So that Pajot line, that's not that Pajot line that didn't have Ryan on it, got about 25% 5-on-5 share last game. But now that's been broken up, and there probably won't be used as a shutdown line on the road. So basically, you're looking at really tough. It's really tough to use these Ottawa lines because they don't play together very much these days. It's almost one out of every 2 games a line won't get more than 12%.
Right. So Ottawa did this a ton last year too, and I kind of just avoided them playing limited lineups for a while last year. They've been better about keeping lines together this year, but now with all these new pieces and Duclair, Balsers playing more extended minutes, like you've got Bodker in the top 9 now. I don't know. So I wanted to figure out a way to get some auto exposure with 20 lineups. I did not get there. With 150 on FanDuel, I'm certainly going to get to a little bit of the White, Kachuk, Duclair line. That's probably the most interesting one just from an offensive talent perspective. And then all those guys play on the power play as well. I'd probably be more interested in Pajot, Ryan, and Smith if more than one of those guys was getting power play time. Because I do like to attack Washington, as you know, the audience knows if you've watched even one show on a Washington slate. But I don't really think it's all that necessary. They just don't really have good enough players.
It's just, it's so hard to know where to go. Like, you're almost better off just taking Shabbat.
There you go. That's also another way to go. I'm getting Shabbat on FanDuel. I think his price is pretty low. So I know I was getting to a bunch of him.
It's decent on. It's only 6K on DK as well, which is less than he has been. So
yeah, Torts sleeps better at night now that Duclair's gone, right?
He doesn't know how to play hockey apparently. So I don't know. I don't know what to do here. Tierney and Bodker are both on the power play 1, so that's interesting. And like that line has shown signs of putting together some stretches together, but generally it's pretty hard to get to Ottawa here. What are you going to do with Washington?
I'm kind of matching the field unintentionally on Washington, on DK. On FanDuel, I'm probably a little bit over the field, so not making a huge stand either way, like I said, but all my Washington stacks will be full line stacks. Like, I'm not going to try to pick and choose guys from the top power play. I think if you're doing that, maybe just 6-man stack it if you think it's that good of a spot, or 5 or 6-man stack it, something like that. Because I just default to the full line stacks. I think both of these top 2 lines can absolutely roll. Whoever Ottawa puts out, I'm just not worried about the matchup. I don't even know that Washington will hard match because of all these new lines. I don't know if the Backstrom line will hard match against Ottawa just because of all these new lines. So they might just roll everything, and they should get out to a lead, and they should put this game away, you would think, despite being a bad defensive team. Like, it's just they're so much better offensively here. They should be able to outscore the Sens pretty easily.
When was the last time we saw, what are the highest totals we've seen this year? This is like 4.2 right now. It's the highest I can remember, but maybe we've gotten to 4.3. I don't know.
I don't know that I've seen. So we're showing 3.9 right now. It looks like some of ours might be a little bit low, but I don't know that I've seen many over like 4.1. So this would be definitely one of the highest.
Leafs last night was 4.1, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you don't often see that. But here we have it.
So I think if you're playing just like 1 or 2 lineups tonight, I think probably you're just like casual. I would probably just fade Washington. I don't know what you do, and then just hope they aren't the nuts line because they go to a different spot. But
so I think I think it depends on the stakes too. So I think if you're playing like
of course, Sorry,
if you're playing one in the like a 3 max or something, or the 153 max. I know that's a tournament a lot of people like in chat. The 333, something like that. That's also a 3 max. Like, and you think there's a spot that's even kind of close. Like if you like Carolina 1, if you like St. Louis 1, just because Washington has a good night tonight doesn't mean they're going to be the number one stack. So you always have to remember that. Like they could have a full line goal or even two full line goals, but you could still have a line that has three full line goals, or they combine on 4 goals or something like that. So you got to remember that it is a big slate. Like don't just have tunnel vision. If you're just playing 1 or 2 or 3 lineups, I'm playing 150, so I'm kind of unintentionally, like I said, getting around the field around that 20-25% range on both sites. So
yeah,
it seems pretty easier. Like it seems easier for me, but if you're making only a few lineups, I think it's a lot tougher decisions you're making here.
And I do think the spot here, like sometimes I like to pivot down to like Washington 2 for the ownership, but they're just like really highly priced right now. And, Backstrom's, Oshie, like they can explode in the occasional game, but I think I'd just rather pay up for Washington 1 here.
Yeah, I mean, like you'd much rather have Washington 1 here. I think that price for Wilson's pretty good. Like he's not just a goon, like he does a lot of really stupid stuff, but his offensive game the last year or so has kind of been pretty good. So I wouldn't, like, people will leave him off. That's fine. So you hope that Wilson scores the goal if you're full stacking it, and you kind of get to pass those Washington 1 people that leave him off or go with Oshie instead.
Absolutely.
Carlson, A points grade, A value. Kind of knew that one off the bat. Just right up there with Burns for me. Not as good of a point projection on a raw points level, but an even better value than Burns. So Osmo agrees. I think he had Burns as a B value. So what about any of these other guys? Orlov, Niskanen?
Yeah, Orlov. I think I'd rather go to Vlasic or somebody like that. Like Orlov's fine, but he just never does anything. And I'm kind of getting sick of rostering him and watching him do nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Orlov's probably fine. He's probably safe for 20 minutes, but like this shot volume just isn't really there for 3,300. So who knows? He might even be popular too.
For like a few hundred more, you can get up to Justin Schultz. So
there you go. Yeah, that would be my guy in that range for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of mentioned Shabbat already, so I'm not messing around. I don't think with any of these Senators min salary guys.
Any Washington 3 filler stack?
They came up I think once for me. I X'd them out on DK. I'm not getting there on 20 lineups. The power play time isn't there for those 3.
Connolly is expensive.
Yeah, 4,400. I don't, because he was playing with Backstrom I think for a couple games. But it's. I don't think you need to do it. Like if you got 150 or whatever, then sure, maybe they score a couple times at even strength. But I won't be there.
I like it.
What do the letters to the right of the player salaries mean? One is Osmo's rating, so what is the other? Anti-Crime Dog asks. So this is the points grade. When I kind of scroll over it, you see the points grade and then the value grade. So that's all. Just two different grades, kind of telling one story there. Ready to... Oh, Holtby, by the way. What are you doing with Holtby?
I think I'm going to have him. Just because the Caps are minus 300. Senators don't shoot a lot, and they haven't been. But I don't know. I think it's a tough call because one way to get away from these Washington 1 lines is just to not have Holtby, right? So I don't know what percentage of Washington 1 stacks you think will have Holtby in them. I'm going to say like 60%, something like that. Like he'll be the most owned goalie on the slate, probably.
He'll be the most owned goalie. I think he'll be popular as a one-off more than anything because if you play Washington 1 with Holtby, you're playing not only the most expensive goalie but also one of the most expensive stacks. And then people like to put in Carlson. So I think people will go to Carlson more than Holtby. I don't really like him as a one-off. So like I like him better as a correlation play. And just go with the super cheap line, maybe like a Buffalo 2 or someone like that. So I know you'd be into that. There's a couple other cheapies that I think are playable as well. So I actually like Holtby with the stack. You hope that the game ends up, 4-0, 5-1 type of thing, and you kind of get the goals and assists pretty concentrated to one line, and Holtby racks up the win. Now, if he lets up 2 goals, he's going to have, or even 3 goals especially, he's going to have a really tough time meeting value here. But it just seems like the win is so safe against this AHL Ottawa team.
Yeah, it really is. Like, and we should be doing this. Like, it's no secret, but probably need to start targeting them a lot going down the stretch here.
Yeah.
just because like they don't have anyone like other than Kachuk and White, like and Shabbat. It's like it's really really close to an AHL team. It's not an exaggeration. So
It's close. I don't have the product. I'm considering trying it. Yeah, try it. Try it out. Promo code Hit the Ice gets you 50% off your first month of Osmo.com NHL Premium. Use that promo code and yeah, half off. Pretty good deal. And you get access to the lineup builder, my projections, Osmo's rankings, premium Slack, of course. So yeah, hit me up on Twitter or whatever if you got any questions, and I'll kind of let you know. Otherwise, you can just go to become a member. I believe is on the top right of the Osmo.com homepage. All right, next game. Kings and the Hurricanes, 2.2 implied total for the Kings, 3.3 for the Hurricanes. Quick question mark going up against Peter Mrazek?
Yeah, because Campbell played last night. So
That's right. What do we have for news and notes here?
So just that, like, I think we don't have much. I think it's all the same, pretty much.
Just that Stahl's back. I don't know that we've talked since Stahl's been back.
Yeah, so Stahl's back for the Hurricanes, centering that second line. He was there last game as well. Yeah, the LAD is pretty weakened. Alec Martinez is out. They got rid of Muzzin, so you're looking at a pretty horrible D grouping, pass forward and Doughty. So I'm assuming you're going to be pretty heavily on Carolina 1 here.
Yes. Well, actually, the top 2 and maybe even the top 3. Quick note, Hutton in goal, Middlestat in for Thompson. So Middlestat is playing. That could possibly ruin our Buffalo 2.
Yeah, it would. That makes sense because like Buffalo 2's been playing well lately, so it would just be like a Middlestat on Buffalo 3, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so some Carolina hot takes here. It looks like in chat from Boom. Imagine that. Carolina set to disappoint again, Eric asks. Could be. I think they should smash the Kings here. So, Aho, Niederreiter, Williams, obviously my number one play here. Very, very obviously they've just been so good. They've kind of dominated everyone they've gone up against, which is wild. Like, I can't get over these 3 players. Like, Aho is awesome, but like Williams and Niederreiter at these points in their careers, Niederreiter after doing nothing this entire season. So I don't know. I mean, that line just should smash, I think, any of these Kings lines. And then, you've got Kopitar on the Kings, and he's still good, but his line is not even good. But the Stahl line is going to go up against Kopitar for virtually the entire game. At least that's how I think it's going to go. They usually use Stahl and shut down. So that would leave Aho, Niederreiter, and Williams to go up against this Carter-Toffoli combo, which has been absolute garbage defensively, and then Kempe, Lipsick, and Brodzinski. Like, they should be able to generate a ton. I said the same thing about Nashville last night without McDavid, and that didn't work out. So maybe fade me, but I don't know how Carolina 1 doesn't just generate a ton of shots and scoring chances here. So
yeah, I'm in with you on that one. They're one of my favorite lines tonight. I haven't looked too much at Carolina 3 yet, but I'm guessing they're cheap, and I always like to use them as a filler stack because you never know when they can score. So they also have, like, I don't know what their numbers are like with McGinn, but Martinook and Svechnikov have pretty good numbers.
Yeah, so good. They're like 20 high danger chances per 60 with Martinook and Svechnikov if you just go by those two.
It hasn't worked out for me this year playing them, but like I'm going to try and get back on a little bit just because it makes for a pretty nice pairing with some of these higher price lines tonight. Right. Svechnikov's price is way down as well, so
like you could probably go Carolina 1 with Burns and like St. Louis 1 or Washington 2 with Carolina 3 and get Burns, Carlson, and a top-rated goalie as well. So it's tough. Like I shouldn't pass over Carolina 2 either. I think they're also a really good value. I don't know what to expect from this line just yet. I just know they're kind of going to go up against Kopitar, Iafallo, and Brown, and that's not a line I'm really worried about. The Kings are just never a team that's going to make me not want to play someone. So top 2 for Carolina if you want to throw the third one in as a cheap filler to get up to the 5 best skaters you can find elsewhere, then by all means do that. And then Hamilton and Falk are the obvious guys. Hamilton, again, kind of as a one-off because he doesn't really correlate to that top line, but Falk would be the guy if you're going with Carolina 1 plus a defenseman, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the goalie just in general tonight is ugly, so gonna have my fair share of Mrazek tonight and hope he can kind of limit the damage to 0 or 1 goals here.
And I don't hate Slavin as a one-off. Like he's priced down. He's just not. He was at the same price as like Hamilton and Falk. He's not going to get much ownership, but he just kind of scores out of nowhere. So if you're looking for someone in that $4,200 range, there's a few guys tonight, but he's always in play for me at that price point.
All right, let's go to Pittsburgh and Columbus. We got a 3.1 implied total for the Penguins, 3.6 for the Blue Jackets. Do we have any changes here?
Yeah, so on the Pittsburgh side, Chris Letang is out, Oli Mata is out, and Brian Dumoulin is out as well. So Goodbranson wasn't there, but I'm assuming he might play as well tonight. We could be looking at a really, really banged up Penguins defense, which makes me really want to get on Columbus here in a spot that I don't think a lot of people are going to be on. And then as well, Hornqvist, who played up on Pittsburgh 1 last game, and Rust is down on Pittsburgh 3 with Bukestad and McCann. And then on the Columbus side, Pierre-Luc Dubois centering Dzingel and Bjorkstrand. And then the top lines 1 and 3, I guess you want to call them that, are together, same ones as usual. Columbus 3 got a lot of ice time last game. That'll probably go down a little bit. But Pierre-Luc Dubois was in a bit the doghouse. He was benched for stretches, so that's something to consider.
So you see Columbus 3, it's listed as, that's really their second line. That's going to be their line that plays a lot tonight, especially they're going to go up against Crosby, I think. 60-40-ish split with the top line for Columbus. So it's going to be top 6 against top 6 for the most part. So put this line in the top 6. You've got Dubois and Bjorkstrand. That's 2 chances for the lines to get jumbled up there. Who knows about Dzingel? He could find his way into the doghouse right away with Tortorella. You just never know. So I think this third line, quote unquote, and then this top line are pretty safe to say together. Someone in chat said, Eric S. said Columbus 1, like Osmo's hating on the value. My numbers actually didn't like Columbus 1 as a value either, and you can see why they're over 21K. I think they're the most expensive line on the slate, and they're just, for some people, aren't going to grade out as well as like a Washington 1 on a raw points basis. So then it's even tougher to get to them when you're paying almost $1,000 more when that salary becomes really, really important.
The value for Columbus 1 comes from like their ownership, right?
Right. So you're not going to have to pay the ownership tax. So that's the thing. I am forcing in some Columbus 1 on FanDuel especially. I am not getting there on DK, which really worries me because they're so expensive and this line seems like it should be so exciting. Upgrade from Dubois to Duchesne and full power play correlation. Not that they've been great on the power play or anything, but I think they can handle either one of these top 2 lines for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, totally agree. Columbus just seems to be heating up a little bit. Pittsburgh not playing that great generally, giving up a lot of chances. I know you were targeting them in the outdoor game. Was there something that you saw in that outdoor game with Philly that made you want to target them?
Philly 2 was cheap, and I think the Crosby line, I can't remember who he was playing with, but I think it was Rust. He's not as stout defensively with Rust. I don't know about Hornqvist just yet. I don't know if this trio has played.
I guess Hornqvist was on the Malkin line back in the day, right? Like we must have some data on that line though, right?
I know he's played with Crosby at some point this year or maybe last year. Let me check quick.
I'm on it right now.
Okay. You see anything?
Just give me 2 seconds. Are you going to get to any of the Pittsburgh side of this game?
It would probably be the Crosby line. Just Hornqvist is priced way too cheap. And you assume he gets a minutes bump, top power play there, full power play correlation here for Pitt 1. So I think that's a pretty obvious line with Kessel moved down to the second unit. You want players on Pittsburgh's top power play, of course, just because it's so lethal at times. No Letang hurts, but you're getting Schultz, who's actually filled in nicely without Letang at only 3,900. So they're pretty easy to stack up here, especially that top line.
So 170 minutes last year, that Guentzel, Hornqvist, Crosby line averaged 14 high danger chances for, 35 scoring chances for.
What about against?
8 against, and 21 scoring chances against.
Wow. I did not realize that.
Let's take a look at 2019 too, because they got 75 minutes together from this year. So 75 minutes from this year, 30.1 scoring chances for, 14 high danger chances for, 8 against as well, and 18 scoring chances against in 75 minutes this year, 5-on-5.
I did not realize they were that. Maybe they're just that overwhelming offensively that it's hard to get chances against them. You know, because by the time you finally get out, you finally get the puck, it's the end of your shift type of thing.
Yeah.
Wow. I did not realize they were that good. For some reason, I had it in my head that Crosby and Hornqvist were pretty bad defensively together. So maybe I have to rethink this one. Maybe I need to get more Pit 1 exposure. Like, you know, I'm a big numbers geek. I don't know how popular they're going to be. Maybe like the third or fourth most popular line on the slate. And this is going to be a line that people are more willing to stack up as a whole. So you might see their ownerships pretty close to together because you've got cheap Hornqvist on power play 1 and people like the Crosby-Guentzel duo, of course. So that's interesting. I was not expecting to hear numbers like that. So
yeah,
kind of changing my opinion right on the show. I still do like the Jenner line, though, as a value. Like, I think most projection systems are going to. Worries me a little more now that we know they're going to see some time against Crosby. But, yeah, this one, I'm going to have to do a little bit of a deeper dive into this after the show.
Yeah, you're certainly going to get them at low ownership, too. And you compare them with Schultz, he'll also be cheap. So it'll be an interesting one. Could even get like a little contrarian game stack here. Pittsburgh 2, did I say it already? Rates out really well for Osmo. They're like one of 2 lines with a double-A grade, which is surprising to me. You seen anything there?
On Pitt 2?
Yeah, like Aston Reese is a downgrade, so I really didn't get to any of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't love that with Kessel not on the top power play.
For 3 goals too. It's very strange.
Yeah, I don't really agree with that, but that's why he's the best player in the world and we are not, I suppose. No way Pitt 1 is a top 4 owned line. I mean, okay, so we've got Washington 1, who else? Carolina 1.
Let's see.
Like where are we at there?
What do I think? I think those are 2 of the top. Winnipeg 1 maybe.
Philly. I mean, Winnipeg 1. You think against Minnesota?
Yeah, I think they'll be owned. They're at home. Line is up there.
Maybe. I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm far off on 4. Maybe they're 5 or 6, but.
I think you're right, actually. Like, people love to play Pittsburgh. There's really not. The problem is, like, all these top lines are not in great spots. So you got, Boston without Pasternak.
Yeah.
So I think you're bang on, actually. Yeah, probably be top 5 for sure.
Philadelphia 1 and 2 ahead of Pitt. I don't think, as a whole, they're like either of those are ahead of them. But I could be wrong. I mean, it's going to be a high-paced game,
especially because
people love Pittsburgh.
No one knows about Patrick yet, and probably for a lot of people, and no one rosters Lindblom. So
full power play 1 correlation too. That's the thing. So some people agreeing, some people disagreeing. I don't know. But after Washington 1, and it's not going to matter probably overall, but after Washington 1, you're going to see a lot of lines in the 12 to 6% range that are going to be.
Like we're arguing, like, or discussing, like, not minimal percentages in ownership here. Like, outside of Washington 1, there's going to be a huge drop off, and it's all going to be very closely related. So it doesn't really matter.
Schultz and Jack Johnson both played 30 plus minutes last game.
Right.
Schultz is just the very, very, very obvious guy tonight. I'm not getting cute in that range. I'm just playing him. He's going to play 25 plus minutes, I think. That may be on the low side if this is a close game, too. You can play Pettersson as well. But and then I actually do like Johnson, too, just because he's going to see so many minutes.
25 minutes, or 2,500 bare min, 30 minutes. Sign me up.
Yeah, misleading minutes last game because they were down to 5D. Yeah, so Letang got hurt, but they still played a ton of minutes, and Letang's out and Dumoulin's out too, so they're going to get a big bump. That's why I said 25. They're not going to see 30 again, I don't think, but
No, probably not. You're right.
they're still going to see more than their fair share. All right.
It's going to move on.
Yeah, let's do it. Montreal and Detroit. We've got a 3.1 implied total for the Canadiens, 2.9 for the Red Wings. Antti Niemi expected to go after Price went last night, loss in New Jersey, and then Jimmy Howard for the Red Wings. What do we got here?
Athanasiou is on Detroit 2. Looks like he's going to be centering that line for the rest of the season. Darren Helm is up on the top line for the Red Wings. Thomas Vanek is out, I believe, guaranteed to be out tonight. And yeah, so Philip Zadina and Tyler Bertuzzi, who your projections are a big fan of that line, I'm guessing. So it came up like a lot for me.
I've had a tough time trying to project Zadina, but yeah. I don't know. That line, that line's gonna come up for sure.
Yeah, Madison Bowie makes his debut on the third pairing for them, and I think like no changes for the Habs. Sure. They played last night, so we won't know until game time. But I would guess probably not much.
Yeah, I doubt they change much. So my favorite here, obviously the Larkin line, as you guys know. Now you get Mantha on the top power play, no Gustav Nyquist, so Mantha almost certainly going to play on that top power play, even if Blashill decides to Blashill. He has not quite taken the step in putting Mike Green on the top power play, but Hronek is certainly fine at 3,800 as well. You're going to get a backup goaltender. That's a little bit of a boost. Like I said, I don't weigh that too heavily. But, yeah, I'm just not really scared of this Canadiens top line defensively, giving up 15.7 high danger chances against. And Larkin usually goes up against opposing top competition. Now you say, okay, Darren Helm's on the line, but he carried Justin Abdelkader and Nyquist to 15 or 16 high danger chances per 60.
The best thing you can say about Helm is that he's an upgrade on Abdelkader.
I don't even know if he is, but they just have a bunch of these plugs. They just put Zadina with him, you know?
Not to get off on a tangent here, but I was just thinking the other day, if Detroit were just to put their top 6 forwards together and ride those lines, I said it on Slack, I think, and they just rode them all year long, like Mantha, Bertuzzi, Larkin, Nyquist, and they, I think they make the playoffs, so they're close to a playoff team.
Are they close?
No, I think they do.
Oh, okay,
like, if they approach the season by loading up on their top 2 lines and not like sprinkling in Helm and all these weird crappy players.
Yeah.
I think they're a much better team than their record indicates, but maybe that's me. I don't know.
No, I think they'd certainly be better than, you know, playing some of their top guys on the fourth line and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. They just poorly coached, poor organization, so whatever. But Larkin line is the play for me here, and you can add in Helm, you can leave him off, but I'm leaving in Helm and hoping he somehow gets in on the scoring if the Larkin line goes off. You like anything on Montreal side here?
I don't know. Like Detroit's pretty bad defensively, right? Like just as a whole unit. So I was going to see like what your matchups you thought they'd be, because they're not going to be owned, right?
I don't think so.
Montreal 1 is priced up a little bit. They have been for just because they've been playing well recently. So I'm kind of interested in them. I haven't gotten to them yet, but I think like throwing them in a couple lineups probably isn't a bad idea for sure.
Yeah, I think it would, like, despite the Larkin matchup, it would probably be Danault, Drouin, and Gallagher for me.
Yeah,
they're just the better line, I think, than Tatar, Domi, and Shaw. Even though that line hasn't been too bad, but the prices are close enough on DK where I would definitely lean towards Montreal 1 if I'm going to it on DK. I don't know if I'm going to end up there, though. So this is mostly going to be Larkin. Larkin's going to be my highest owned line or one of the top 2. So they're going to be up there for me on both sites for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nemeth been on fire the last 2 games. That's right. Just needed to wait like 60 games for him to explode. Yeah. Anything else?
No.
Nashville, St. Louis. These last few games probably won't take too long, I wouldn't think. Preds 2.5 implied total. Blues 3 implied total. UC Saros expected to go for the Preds. Binnington actually confirmed for St. Louis. What do we have here? Any changes?
So Michael Granlund's wife gave birth last night or yesterday while he was being traded. So he's probably, I don't even think he's in Nashville yet, so he's not going to suit up. They're saying like one of the next 2 games he'll play. Simmons is on a line with Turris and Yarncroc. Bonino between Sorry, Simmons, not Sissons. Simmons. And then Boyle with Bonino and Sissons. And then on the other side, Shen and Steen are out for the Blues. So we have some like makeshift lines with Fabry, Maroon. So I'm just pulling it up here. Fabry, Maroon, Bozak, and then Sanford, Sundqvist, Thomas. So maybe a weakened Blues side and a Predators side on back-to-backs.
Yeah, St. Louis won is all I got here. Like, this game's kind of a mess outside of them. Nashville is a complete mess. They almost lost to Edmonton without McDavid. Was that last night or 2 nights ago? I can't remember. All the nights run together. But, man, St. Louis's numbers are so good. Up there with Carolina 1 is one of the best lines in the league as of late. And then Schwartz, also super cheap still. Full power play correlation. St. Louis has been playing the best of any team over the last 15, 20 games. So I know Nashville is a tough matchup, but they haven't looked the same lately, and St. Louis has just been so good, especially this top line.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't getting too much St. Louis, so I'm kind of this game. I'm kind of thinking is going to be a fairly defensive one, but you're putting them in.
Yeah, they're just too cheap, I think, for how good of a line they are.
Yeah,
and it's a little worrisome that they're going to go up against Johansson and Forsberg and Arvidsson a little bit, but man, it's hard for me to get away from those numbers that St. Louis 1 has put up, and then throwing the back-to-back as well. They're a pretty decent favorite. So
they'll hard match O'Reilly line against the Johansson line.
I would think so. Yeah, that seems the most logical, I think.
Yeah. So you got it. Like you X out Predators 1, or like what do you do with that? Because
I didn't even need to X them out. They're not really coming up for me. St. Louis. If you factor in any sort of recent data in your model, you're just not going to get teams against St. Louis. They're just so good defensively lately.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
that's really all I got here.
Quick question: what's if you don't mind, what's your take on what should have been done with Subban last night?
Oh, sure, yeah. So I would have played him. I mean, I would have had him in my lineups, and I read some of your article. I didn't get to finish the whole thing, but I saw I really liked what Tom said when you asked him. He said something along the lines of it's the lineup construction. It's like being contrarian in your lineup construction rather than just the Subban play.
Right.
So like if you had a 2% owned line paired with a 5% owned line, you probably didn't need Subban. But like he does still have upside. He had been coming on a little bit lately. We'd been talking about it on the shows. So he was a guy that I bumped up, and I still wasn't getting to him organically. So that's why I didn't end up with him.
So in a vacuum, you would be like, all things equal, you would rather have Subban at 1.5 over Yossi at 18. Just like in a vacuum.
If I was late swapping, and I thought like we had the whole lineup filled out except for one defenseman spot, and we had the same lineup, like I would probably make that pivot to Subban. I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Just to have a unique lineup.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
good to know.
Yeah. We
don't do that enough, right? Like I feel like I'm guilty of it. Like there's just like huge leverage there, I think, in some cases. And I want to become more aware of that. We're really good about it with lines though, I think. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. All right, let's move it on to the next one. Minnesota and the Jets, 2.7 implied total for the Wild, 3.2 for the Jets. Dubnyk expected to go up against Connor Hellebuck. Looks like Kevin Hayes in the lineup. Anything else for Winnipeg?
Yeah, so I guess Hayes centering the second line with Ehlers and Perreault, and then Connor and Little Roslovich. Kind of a weird line combination. I guess they basically just was that second line that's now the third line together. No, it wasn't. It was Ehlers. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't really get these lines. I kind of thought it would be Hayes, Connor, and Ehlers, but that's all right. I'm interested a little bit in Winnipeg 1. I think factoring in, we haven't been targeting Minnesota lately just because they've been very good defensively. However, they've also traded some key pieces, and Winnipeg is at home. I kind of am going to get to some Winnipeg 1 tonight at, I think, decent, respectable ownership. But and then on the other side, Winnipeg, there's Aberg might get into the lineup, he's a game time decision. If not, I think the lines you see there will be the same. Cunnin is up on the second line, and Fiala as well. So, and then the third line's the same.
I've got basically no Minnesota on DK. In fact, I don't have any line stacks that I'm not crazy about any of their defensemen. So on DK, not getting to Minnesota. On FanDuel, I am getting to some Stahl, Zucker, Greenway. I don't know exactly how the matchups are going to go for the Jets, but now super deep team. You probably want to go up against, I don't even know, the third line for the Jets. So I just don't see a matchup I'm in love with. Greenway's price just makes the Wild top line a little bit more affordable. The second line is kind of out of the picture for me because we don't know, first of all, what these lines are going to look like if Aberg's out. So they could change up, but we're expected to see Parise, Cunnin, and Fiala. Those guys are all wingers on DK, so kind of tough to stack when you're trying to even strength stack up all your lineups like me. And then for Winnipeg, on FanDuel, really like the top line. And then on DK, I'm getting to a lot of the Hayes, Ehlers, and Perreault line. So that line should be a good possession line. Like, if you look at all those guys' historical stats, Perreault, just like the Corsi King, and Hayes has been good this year. Ehlers also been perfectly fine. So those guys all super cheap. And they make a lot work on DraftKings when you're trying to get up to the Washington ones and the St. Louis ones and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So you're not getting too much Winnipeg one?
Not on DK. I am getting to more of them on FanDuel. I don't know where they're going to come in as far as ownership.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's going to be interesting to see because I don't think Winnipeg has the rep, and like for casual people at lower contests, I don't think Winnipeg has that rep of being a very good defensive team. So I would expect them to be owned, but that's just a guess.
Trouba is a guy that I'm targeting a little bit tonight. Minnesota taking a lot of penalties, and then their penalty kill has been really bad. If you look at just February, second most time shorthanded in the NHL, 65% penalty kill in that time. So the power play matchup is there for Winnipeg. I'm just taking more advantage of it on FanDuel rather than DK. And then I think Trouba's in play on both sites. In fact, he should be definitely in play on FanDuel. So just going to get extended minutes with no Morrissey and Bufflin.
Yeah.
Projections for Perreault should bump up for being online too. Possibly. I'll look at everything again once we're done with the show. So you might see Perreault bump up a little bit. All right. Anything else in this game? Or are we ready to move on? Last couple.
Yeah, no, moving on. I think I'm higher on Winnipeg one than you, just because they're at home, and I think like we're ready for that line A breakout. I'm not missing it. I've been riding it for months. I'm going in.
All right, Florida and Arizona. We've got a 2.8 implied total for the Panthers, 3.1 for the Coyotes. Panthers dramatic win last night in overtime against the Avalanche. Should be James Reimer as Luongo started last night, and then Kemper for the Coyotes. This one is thoroughly uninteresting for me. Do you have anything you like here?
The only thing that I saw that I thought might be interesting is that Hoffman was put up on Florida 2 last game during the third period. So if that ends up happening, you could use that as a late swap option to gain some leverage on the field. Florida didn't skate this morning, so I'm guessing that we won't know until game time. Yeah, not a great matchup either way. So no, I'm not getting too much here, though. I think Hoffman on the second line is intriguing if that does happen.
Yeah, I would agree. If Hoffman were to move up there for Jace H, then maybe maybe you take a stab there.
I like it. Let's just call him Jace H from now on.
Yeah. So.
And then on the other side, Ekman Larson for 4K is very nice. I like it.
Yeah, I like Ekman Larson and Chychrun, actually. So Chychrun more expensive, going to be way less owned as he usually is, but he's kind of got a little bit of upside by himself. He does attempt quite a few shots. And then Florida maybe on the back-to-back. They take a couple more penalties. I don't think they have a great kill either. So maybe you take a chance on either one of Chychrun or Ekman Larson.
And actually, like as filler lines, like I haven't built yet, but like just looking at the situation as filler lines, Arizona might provide you with some salary relief in a plus matchup. Maybe I don't know, like Galchenyuk can step on or priced up, but there might be some places to go there.
For me,
Mexican lines.
It would be Cousins. The Cousins, Galchenyuk, Keller.
Yeah.
Kind of like the price on that one. So
yeah.
And then they're probably going to get the better matchup against Trocheck rather than Barkov.
Yeah, absolutely. They never seem to go off, but I think they're cheap enough that they don't have to. You know,
Right.
one or two goal game would probably suffice. So
Yep. Last one of the night. Ready to move on?
let's do it.
Stars,
Yeah,
Golden
Mark
Knights. Yeah, 2.3 implied total for the Stars, 3.1 for the Golden Knights. Ben Bishop and Marc-Andre Fleury in net. Talk about Mark Stone and any changes we've got here.
Yeah, so Mark Stone's going to play on Vegas 2 with Stasny and Pacioretty. That's an intriguing line. I've been on Vegas for a while. They just have not been converting, but they're generating chances at the highest rate in the NHL. Usually when we see that, we see a team break through eventually. On the other side of things, also Ryan Carpenter is in for the Knights. He's been out since December. So he's on the third line with Took and I think Eakin. So Theodore on the top power play unit. On the other side, Jamie Benn is out and Matt Zuccarello is out. Rupe Hintz is back up on the top line, and the rest of Dallas is just garbage. So let's talk about these Vegas top two lines.
Yeah, I think both of them I really like, and this one is a little bit site dependent. Although in general, I'm getting to more of Vegas 2 here, which I kind of don't like. I kind of wanted to be more on the one that doesn't have Stone, just because I think everyone's gonna want to try out the new toy. You know, 6,400 he's playing with.
That's exactly my thought too. But at the same time, that line's a hell of a lot scarier than
Stone and Pacioretty, and then Stasny kind of the distributor. So
how about a Josh stack tonight?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna do it. Like I wouldn't think anybody's crazy, or like for a late slate, just stack up 5 or 6 forwards and a defenseman.
Plus Dallas has been pretty good defensively lately.
Right, but you look at it's tough. Like I feel like no one really goes nuts against Dallas.
No.
But no Ben.
No Ben, no Zuccarello. They were lucky to beat Chicago there. It took a 4-minute power play in the dying seconds. Like I thought for sure Chicago was going to beat them. So
yeah.
So I think maybe what it is just like Dallas is pretty strong top 4 defense. So when you have guys that can move the puck out of your own end, like they're all puck movers, they're all pretty strong offensively, and I think that maybe mitigates some of the lack of talent up in their top lines.
Yeah, I mean the Sagan line though. With that being said, like they're still skating with top 4 guys, top 4 defensemen quite a bit. So they're getting hammered at even strength, like under 36% Corsi for percentage. The sample's only at 41 minutes, but like they're on pace for over 18 high danger chances against, 48 scoring chances against. Like they're just getting slaughtered at even strength. And you've got 2 really, 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 really good lines here for the Golden Knights, plus another good forward in Tuck. So sad he's playing with Eakin and Carpenter. We can't really use him anymore for 5,100. But I think I lean more towards Vegas 2, even though I know there's going to be more ownership there.
I do think the smart play is to go with Vegas 1. You get the full power play correlation, or no, just 2 of them on there now, I think. But you could do like a Vegas 1 power play, but I think that you're probably going to look at Vegas 1 getting half the ownership of Vegas 2, which is means they're just the better play. That's just a guess, but technically or generally, I think people tend to go to that like new line, and like you've got 3 or 2 guys who could just bury the puck on that line. So
Pacioretty and Stone is so tough on the same line.
Pacioretty's I think second in the NHL over the last 10 games or something. Last time I looked in high danger chances for as an individual player.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it would be easier to make a choice about one of these 2 guys if Vegas did hard match, but you're going to see top 6 against top 6 type of thing. Vegas likes to roll their lines, so play them both is what I would do if you're multi-entering. I wouldn't
100%,
understand, but if I'm picking just one, it's Vegas 2.
Yeah.
Mark Stone, very, very rich man.
Jesus.
You could be a pretty...
I wouldn't pay that for Mark Stone. I like him, but man, no way. Unless this cap goes up.
Well, if you guys want to be rich in NHLshop.com money, $200 to be exact, all you have to do is like this video, and then you're going to answer the following question. Which player or team can you never get right in NHL DFS? So player, team, whatever it is, which guy or team can you just never feel like they score the points when you're on them, or the other way around. They always go off when you're not on them. So there'd be a couple for me. I'm sure same thing with Nolan. But that's how you get entered into this contest. You're going to comment that in the public comment box, not in the live chat right now. And you'll have a chance to win the $200 gift card that we're giving away. So keep doing that. Got to like it, got to comment, and gain additional entries for the giveaway on March 4th. Any last words for the people, Nolan?
Got to decide what you're doing with Washington 1 tonight. That's the key to the whole slate.
Yeah,
Figure it out.
My advice would just be play the best plays. Don't overthink this slate. There's a lot of garbage, I think. Let other people make mistakes. Play the best plays. So, good luck tonight, guys. We will be back tomorrow, I believe.